So today, this is perfect that we talked about this today.
Mm-hmm.
As my Mets sit at 8-3, and your Yankees are gasping for air, trying to stay above
around by Detroit.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Gasping for air, just trying to stay above 500.
Yeah.
You wanted to pose the question.
Yeah.
Do we as Mets fans feel that Juan Soto, so far, about a dozen games in or so, has been a disappointment? I want to hear your logic and your rationale behind that.
Because you paid him $765 million and he's hit one home run so far. He's like ranked 50th in terms of batting average. I don't even think he's even high up when it comes to OBP too. And look, don't get me wrong. We have a lot of season left. What made me pose this question is y'all stop talking shit about him. I stopped hearing chirps left and right. I was just wondering. And I think what got me going too is, in recapping the last two MLB off seasons we've had huge signings, absolutely dominant signings. Shohei Ohtani became the highest paid player in baseball with his giant $700 million contract. And then Juan Soto, the very next year, going $765. The difference is, and I'm not saying the Mets are bad, and I'm not saying Juan Soto is bad. I'm simply posing the question, throughout the first 2-3 weeks of the season, should we expect more production from Juan Soto? Getting paid $765 million, nothing deferred, to be the offensive juggernaut he should be. We're watching Shohei do it for the second year in a row. So what, as a Met fan, what are you expecting for $765 million? Because I'll be honest with you, if the Yankees if he went to the Yankees and we paid him $762 or $764, whatever it was, and he had the same numbers as of right now, I'd be like, why did we spend the money?
So before we get to that,
yeah,
Penn Bulldog, we got an update from Penn ESPN. Penn Bulldogs have dropped the past two games, 6-3, 15-3. How do you feel about Bulldog performance and Coach Scott Flatham being on the hot seat? Listen, this is a make or miss league, okay? You either make the playoffs and you make it happen, or you got to get dropped, man. Like, you can't drop these. Mike Malone just got fired, the winningest coach in Denver Nuggets history. They're on a 4-game losing streak, about to enter the playoffs as the 4th seed in the West. And you know what they said? Hit the bricks, kid. We need winners here. So, to me, Coach Scott Flatham has one more game, or you guys got to cut him. Get rid of him. It's ridiculous. Dropping 2 games to that level of competition is bad. It's almost as bad as the Yankees losing to the Detroit Tigers. That's where we're getting of this.
Embarrassed by Detroit for the second day in a row.
Of Coach Bauer's going to beat the allegations. Listen, sometimes you just have to trust the process and trust the system, okay? Tell the truth, and the truth shall set you free. And I know I'm talking like a real white guy like right now, and brothers don't get the benefit of the doubt, but it's the best chance you got. All right. Bert, I will say this. It is a long season. I hear you. But let's put some things in context. Juan Soto wasn't brought here to single-handedly carry the Mets. This isn't a Bryce Harper Philly situation. He was here because, if you remember, the Mets made it pretty far in the playoffs, if I recall, like a magical playoff run, and probably should have won their series. But anyway, he wasn't brought here to single-handedly carry the Mets. And including today's game, which is April 8th, he has been on base 10 of the last 11 games. He's sandwiched between Lindor and Pete Alonso. And what that does is, and honestly, it worked out today because they were scared of Soto that they walked him, right? So when Soto's walked, it's Pete Alonso who's having a monster season so far. I believe he's 3rd in the majors in RBIs.
Yeah, he's doing great.
So I hear you about individual performance, but again, he's not here to do that. And so like through the statistical lens, I can see why people would feel that way, but it's the first 10, 11 games. Like, you know what I mean? And I don't want to overreact. And the big thing for me is the fact that he has hits and has safely reached base 10 of those 11 games. And on top of the 7 walks, which has benefited Pete Alonso. It happened again today. They walked him, and Pete Alonso drove in 2 RBIs because they were scared. So the Mets investment in Soto is for the long term. So I don't want to, like, I'd rather him start whatever you want to call slow, considering that the team is 8-3 now, rather than have him come in and produce a bunch of fireworks, but the team be losing. Does that make sense? Like,
It does.
I'm okay. I'm okay with what's happening now because it's leading to, he's doing what he needs to do to win.
Look, I anticipate production to rise from him. And if not, you better hope you get into the playoffs and you make it far, because to me, the only reason to justify that is to create that winning culture to get you the championship, plain and simple. But we all know superstardom comes with a price, and it's comparison to the second highest person getting paid. And for us, that monster contract was Shohei Ohtani the year before, where through a 10-game production, he was incredibly offensive with 3 home runs, 10 RBIs, scored 8 runs and stole 4 bases too. We know Juan Soto is not a base stealing guy. We totally get it. But listen, you want to be the top dog. This is the price you're going to pay just by weight of comparison. So look, again, for everybody that thinks I'm just a Met hater out there, I'm not. Okay. I, for the most part, keep my mouth shut until it's time to gloat. I'm not saying the Mets are bad. I'm not saying Soto is bad. But for $765 million, don't you want a little bit of entertainment with it? Don't you want to see your boy hit bombs?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I do.
More than kick a ball in the outfield, you know?
I mean, again, looking at box scores is very dangerous. Juan Soto is responsible for 30 runs that he scored or driven in. 12 of the Mets' 35 runs this season. That's 34%. So 25% of the points accumulated, almost over 25% of the points accumulated by the Mets are responsible because of Juan Soto. I hear you, but that's the number I'm trying to pay attention to. Again, if I think it was the first series against the Astros, like, he had a chance to win the game, struck out, and then the second game, he didn't even swing. It looked bad, but we're talking about 11 games into the season. So I don't want to overreact specifically because the team is winning. And you're talking to a guy who criticizes the Bills when they win because, coaching decisions. But so, like, I'm with it. Like, there's things that I would like to see, but he is productive, right? Like, he is in a different way, maybe not the way that we're used to, but he also has a track record of being pretty good, Bert. So I'm going to take his entire career of being really good versus the first couple games of the Mets because we paid him a bunch of money and not try to overreact to that. So I'm down.
Look, time will tell, right? I mean, I think we're going to get into a situation where I get what you're saying. He's going to get walked. They're not going to want to pitch to him. There's going to be an argument down the line by me that says, could you have gotten somebody for $764 million to do the same thing?
Yeah. Yeah. But at that point, it's like, we can't as Mets fans say, hey, we want to be talked about like the Yankees or the Dodgers. You spend the money on the star players, right?
Wait, hold on. You're saying Met fans don't want to be talked about like the Yankees or the Dodgers?
No. I'm saying they do. They want to be taken seriously. Okay. You have the billionaire. You have the billionaire owner. So you can't say, hey, we want to be talked about like these guys and not, quote unquote, overpay for a star player. Like, we didn't overpay for, just some decent person. You know what I mean? Like, Nick Castellanos, like, you know what I mean? It's just, it's Juan Soto. Like, I mean, come on now. And the fact that we took him from the Yankees, I'm going to give him a little bit more grace. But again, it's also because it's not like he's in a rut. Like, people are talking like he's in a rut. If this is his floor, then I'm more than happy to pay him $700 million because his floor is more productive than a lot of guys in the league. And we're 8-3, and the Yankees are barely above 500.
Barely,
And
yeah, I know.
you guys lost to the Tigers, so it's cool.
We did, but it's cold there. That's why they
It
moved
is
the
cold,
game in the
yeah.
afternoon, and the guys aren't warmed up. I will say,
Mhm.
and since you brought it up, there's no one talking shit about the Yankees bats when we're not even hitting. So can
Yeah.
everybody please you can write in your apology and say, I'm sorry, Burton Durham, you're right. I was overreacting. I was talking too much shit about bats that were completely legal. And Rob Manfred came out and said it's good for the game. But, so everybody needs to just shut the fuck up. Yeah.
The one thing I will say about the Mets, this is not really a Juan Soto thing. The one criticism I think me and you had talked about before the season even started, the one concern that I had was the bullpen. I said, we're going to really roll out there with Kodai Senga and them. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I just couldn't even name them. It was just Kodai Senga and them boys. And best bullpen in baseball, statistically. I mean, so I'm not saying that's a sustainable thing, but it's a happy surprise, I'll say.
The thing with baseball is it's never sustainable. The season's too long. It really is. And you have to rely on good managing and good management to be able to bring in the right pieces and identify where the gaps are throughout the season and make the right moves, plain and simple. I think that is what it is. But listen, like I said, the Mets are not a bad team. They're absolutely not. And Met fans should be rejoicing. You guys really stuck it to the Marlins,
Yeah. Before we move on to Rob Manfred, which borough did Cody Bellinger get the wings that he got sick from? Just tell me where he got them from. We know it. Come on, we know it. Let's say it on 3. We know which borough it is.
Don't you dare! Don't you dare!
Let's do it.
Brooklyn, maybe.
Yonkers. Oh man.